Today, going to be showing you how to do hard house, modern, KETTAMA, Kyle Starkey style. You can grab this full template that you just heard at the intro at the top of the description on my website. Make sure to grab that today. It'll help you take your tracks to the next level instantly. This is a really great template to build a lot of awesome hard house tracks. You can honestly build a whole career just with this template. Links at the top of the description. Thanks for the support, guys, and let's get going. Alright, we're at 136 BPM. First thing we got here is this kick. Only processing is, you can see I tuned it to be in tune with the bass, and then I've also got this little subcut. So we're cutting a bit of low end out. You can hear it gets rid of the like stuff that would really get in the way of where the bass is meant to be. And then we're also just converting it to mono so we don't get any phase issues. Then we have the bass. So without the sidechain, it sounds like this. So it's really simple. We're just jumping between a D sharp and then an octave up and then A sharp and an octave up. Really simple, and it's just this dun 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 sort of call and response pattern, right? For the sound on this one, it's made with wavetable. Wavetable is really good for making really fat basses, because what you can do is you can get like what I got here, where we have a square wave, and then I've also got this A-E-I-O-U. So if I turn off the filter, here when I bring in that second wavetable, it's really fat. So yeah, these wavetables can actually give you kind of fatter basses if you blend it with the saw and square. Even if you end up low passing and getting rid of like all of that like wavetable mid-rangey content, you're still getting more fatness and more low end. So I got an envelope on the filter there, just really short, just like a quick little bump, just making it like bump a little at the start. Then we're just sidechaining it to the kick, and then I've got a little subcut on this as well, but not quite as low as the kick. Then we have our sort of 909 drums. So yeah, it's literally just a bunch of 909, like I've got this hi-hat and this one layered together. We have this 909 clap, 909 ride as well. And this is a big difference with like the really modern hard house. It's more, funny enough, it's like more of these classic kind of 909, like it's bringing in more of the old house and techno sort of feel with these kinds of drums, right? Whereas like, you know, maybe more 2000s Tidy Boys hard house is like very futuristic and like trying to push the sound forward, and less warm, more like bright. This is like very warm and classic, and then you add it with this kick and bass line. Right? So then we've got some percussion loops. So these are that essential part of the sound, which obviously, like, if you just have the programmed drums, it's a lot more rigid, and then you add these. And that's what gives it some life, because these are like more live percussion, like something like this. I basically have this one on its own, because I didn't want it sidechained or filtered at all. And then I have this group here with a bunch of them. Like I've got 5 in there. So if I take off the processing, these all needed to be high passed and then sidechained, or like in this case, auto pan fake sidechain. But you know, here's without anything. So you can see it's literally house loops. And like this live percussion, right? And then we're just high passing to get rid of the kicks. And then we're auto panning, so again, it's gonna bounce off the... And there you go. And you create these new loops by basically layering these together. And that's how you get that really busy, full percussion in these tracks. it's house loops like that sped up and then filtered and put together to create something that, to be honest with you, I think if this was like, you know, more tech house, like 126 BPM stuff, it would be too much percussion, but at this faster tempo, it works really well. So then we have our piano. So the chords here are actually really simple, even though it looks a bit complicated. Right here we have this D sharp major 7, right? And then it just goes down to an A sharp major 7, which is then inverted. I've got that like spread across the keyboard a little differently. I think this is meant to be right there, right? But yeah, and then these chords, these little in-between chords, I'm just creating using different voices from the chord, like from the chord that's being played there. Like that, for example, right? It might not look like it's part of the chord, but it's actually just those notes down an octave. So that's how I would create that, is like, if you want to create these little in-between chords like this, just take voices from the chord that is already playing and just put them across different places on the keyboard. Now, for the sound on this one, we got 2 layers. I've got the piano, which starts its life as this. I've got this piano sample, which is how you get that kind of more old school sort of housey sound, right? You can hear it. It's that really bright, chorusy piano from the M1. I've got that going through this delay. Now, the delay, you obviously don't hear a whole lot of delay. What's actually happening is I've got it on this 1.81 milliseconds, and then it's on the ping pong setting. So what's happening is you're getting this 1.81 millisecond sort of back and forth. And it's so fast that it creates some stereo width. So it's essentially a stereo widener to really like push this out to the sides so that it stands out, because we have these other elements underneath it. Right, you can hear these really, this piano sits nicely in the sides. Then I just have it sidechain. And the second layer on the piano would be this. So what's happening is it just kind of fills out a bit of the background there. Like if I turn off all the effects, this is this wavetable patch. I got this bitter wavetable. I've got a bit of the sub, and I've got this robotic wavetable. You can see we're moving that wavetable as well. I've got some noise, unison, bit of delay. A little overdrive, which you can hear doesn't do much. It's only at 8%, but you hear when it comes on, it does add some flavor. Bit of reverb. You really want it pushed to the background like that 7%, so it's like in there, and it is big, and it's a long reverb, but it's not necessarily like so in your face. High pass. And then the auto pan to make it bounce off the kick. So you layer that with the piano, and it just fills it in a little. I've noticed this with a lot of these modern tracks, especially like that Kyle Starkey kind of poppier sort of stuff. But also if you want to get like weirder and more interesting textures, this is a good way to do it. So then we got our stabs, which kind of like double up the piano. So like the way you write something like this is you have your piano, and then you're going to have just like the stabs, like kind of just, you know, like that, just sort of signaling the chords. And then you add some stuff in between like this. Right, so starting here, we've just got this one. You could also go ahead and high pass that a little bit. So it's just a brass stab, and then it's just playing the same note with where the piano goes. And you can hear it really like makes the track jump out a lot more. Like if you just have the piano, it's a bit flat. It works, but there's something that's going on here that really brings it to life with all the stabs, right? So then it's just going to a bit of reverb and then a side chain. And then you go and you can add in like these other ones that are sort of like, right? Following that same rhythm of the piano, but it's a bunch of different stabs which match musically with where the piano is going. And having it be 5 different stabs like this creates a lot of really cool movement in the track without having to do a bunch of automation. It's just the fact that you're hearing all these different sounds jump in and out, yet they're all in the same key. You can see I didn't even process them all individually. It's just one group, sidechain, high pass, move on with your life. You don't even want a whole bunch of reverb and delay on these because you don't want them to really be in the way of everything. Then we have this string. Right, sort of classic house disco sort of thing. This is this Ableton tension, I believe, string that I grabbed from up here, and then there's a bit of reverb, sidechain, and high pass. Really simple, but it's an important element, that like classic high string, just holding the whole thing down. And then we got the vocals. Supernatural is the night. Alright, so with these you can see it's really simple. It's really just about listening and finding, like, for example, this vocal worked really well on the 2 there instead of putting it right here. Like, it's really just a matter of like listening and like placing stuff on the right beat and really using the feel, not just using like what looks good when you're clicking around Ableton. Right, like putting that "is the night" right on that is like perfect, as opposed to if you put it here, it kind of feels a little too soon. You know, it works, but there's something about giving it that little bit of space there. Right, and even this one here, where it like kind of hits on the upbeat there, instead of just. Like, it all works, but there's something really, like, there's like that exact pocket that really works, right? So you just want to play around with that on like 8th notes, 16th notes, quarter notes, what hits best with the vocal. Even sometimes this one, just right on the 1 worked, right? And then what I've done here is I've actually taken all the vocals and just put them in a group. And what this does is it kind of helps when you have multiple vocal samples. Like, these are just little one-shot lines. It's not like a whole acapella. If you put them all through the same processing at the same time, and it's like the same delay, the same amount of low-end cutout, the same amount of sidechain, it can help kind of make it feel more like one vocal. Right, like those kind of come together and just sound like one vocal. It also helps when it's the same singer, right? But kind of putting these all through the same processing is a good way to do the one lines like this and still make them feel like they all fit in the same world. And yeah. So that's me for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like this video as well as subscribe, and let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get this full template at the top of the description on my website. Definitely do not miss out. Grab it while it's available. This is a great template that can take your tracks to the next level instantly. If you want to make this style of house, it's a must grab. Thanks for the support, everybody. It really helps, so I can keep bringing you guys new videos every single day, and I will see you tomorrow with another one.